What is up, everybody? It is Archimedes Aizen here, back at it again with the finale of Ichigo's royal journey. Now, it's been quite a interesting ride, but don't worry, this will not be the last time you see me on this channel. Me and Mysta are gonna, we're cooking up something. It's been postponed, but hey, we'll definitely get back to it. Spam about it. Be like Archimedes, Aizen, and Mysta. When's that coming along? Nah, I'm just kidding. I mean, do what you want. Now, pretty much right before we get into this what if, where we left off was Ichigo, Shinji, Yoruichi, and Kisuke were pretty much shot off using the cannon to Soul Society. So yeah, we're gonna roll that intro. Now we resume this what if when the cannon is shooting. Now this time, due to all their perfect or almost perfect Ryatsu control or Reishi control, I honestly don't know the difference, but I think Reishi is used by Quincy, Hollow. It's like a simplest form of spiritual energy, and energy is just more advanced. So yeah, that's why maybe mainly only Shinigami use it. Now, the cannon will be shot off, and this time they'll be able to get way further, and they'll be able to get detected way less. Like, there would be still like a huge explosion, but people won't really think like it's an invasion or anything. So when they went to go investigate, nobody was there. So Ichigo, Hat and Clogs, Yoruichi, obviously in cat form, and Shinji would be running through the Soul Society or the Seirete, and they would make it to the cave. Now, pretty much for now, Yoruichi would go around getting intel on what's happening with Rukia's execution. It turns out Rukia's execution was still like a bait for Ichigo to come along, and so they can get that higher, it's just so they can, they're not just killing Ichigo. They're not just killing Rukia, they get Ichigo, possibly other rogue Shinigami as well. So pretty much for the next maybe 2 weeks, they would just do nothing but training, and I'll be getting into that. So Ichigo and his Zanpakuto, Zangetsu, will just be training, and they'll kind of do like a similar test to that of the Bankai or the fake Bankai test. So Ichigo would then be seen, clashing back and forth with completely different Zanpakuto, trying to find his inner self and hopefully train more and more to get stronger and stronger. So basically what would be happening is the old man would be training his Quincy techniques, and Zangetsu would then be training his Shinigami and Hollow techniques. So like they're kind of it's like a 2v1, but technically it's just like a Ichigo fighting himself in a sense. So they'd be clashing, canceling out with Seros, or seeing which blood fiend will last out against each other, or any let's see if the Hellfagfil, I don't know what the simple arrow of the Quincy arrow is called, but like whose Quincy arrow would hit each other, or whose Volstagen would last longer. Honestly, I didn't really give Ichigo Volstagen. I just thought maybe I should just have it be a multiplier. Maybe his Volstagen is like his fake Bankai. That'd be interesting. And his like his Shrift would be the fake Bankai, but his Volstagen would be like his Shikai and all, which he'll always be in. So yeah, now we'll do that time skip 2 weeks. Shinji, Yoruichi, Ichigo, and Kisuke, they would all be ready, and they would head out to their separate location. Ichigo and Shinji would go over to the Sokyoku, while Yoruichi and Kisuke would go confront Aizen at Central 46. So yeah, if you're wondering why doesn't Yoruichi go fight Soifon, she's kind of gonna do that and then meet up Kisuke. It's just like she's pretty much gonna be Soifon pretty fast, so that's why I said like she's going along with Kisuke. So Ichigo and Shinji would be sitting down, and they're going over plans, and Yoruichi would hand them the same Shihoan cloak, would have the the clan symbol, which Shinji and Ichigo would wear. But Ichigo is definitely feeling the cloaks. He has first the clothes from Senjumaru, then he has the Hayori from the Ryu, which he would not wear since he actually wants to fight people. He doesn't want people to just notice him and then not fight him. He wants to throw hands with the head captain or any other captains as much as he can. So yeah. Now, once Ichigo and Shinji would pretty much get to the Sokyoku, they then see the Sokyoku bird going down to, conclude its execution. And Ichigo would pretty much Shunpo Hira, I don't know the flash trap frequencies, but the Quincy flash trap and Sonido, kind of a mixed technique. And he would appear in front of the Sokyoku before just palming it. Now, using his Quincy kind of semi-hollow side, he would use their absorption before he would absorb it into reishi or pure reishi, before he would then throw it towards the sky, causing a huge explosion to erupt, almost clearing the sky. So it would kind of be a little the clouds would then be dispersed. It was sunny with a few clouds, but after that it was just sunny. Now, Ichigo would land on the stand. And he would say, Rukia, how'd you get caught? Aren't you captain class? And pretty much he would then, he would not even let her answer the question before he says, well, that doesn't matter. We're here anyway, right? So he would then grab the bandages of Zangetsu, the two of them, and then start spinning them around with both of his hands before he would then kind of use a Getsuga, and then he would pretty much split the stand into tiny little pieces. After this, he would then grab Rukia and throw her just like he did in canon, but instead of Renji, it would be, Shinji. Shinji would then use his Shikai to alter everyone's senses, and Shinji would get out of there. Now, Kisuke would, be keeping Aizen busy. Kisuke and Yoriichi would be keeping Aizen busy at the Central 46, but Aizen would, Gin would use that same Kido technique that would teleport them away. I wish I actually knew the name. If anyone knows the name, kindly tell me in the comments, with a few exclamation points and "you fucking fake Bleach fan." I'm just kidding. But basically, yeah. Ichigo would then would feel a presence behind him, a familiar presence, some presence he knew for a lot of years. He would then turn around and quickly clash with said person. This would be none other than Byakuya. Now we all know Byakuya and Ichigo's relationship, and this would be kind of I think in there was this anime, I can't remember which anime, but basically the MC is called Thorfinn. And I saw an anime moment where he had to fight his dad. Yeah, it was kind of a weird time. I wish I knew the name. Who knows? Steak will probably put it up on the screen. I remember I was watching part 1 and I was talking about Gratify's part, and all I see is the thumbnail just put on there on cropped. I was like, damn, Steak, that was legend for that. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding about that. Never mind. So, back to the topic. Ichigo and Byakuya would clash, and their Ryatsus, blue and pink, would pretty much clash together, showing the symbolic differences. Now, Ichigo would then back up before, slicing down his sword, swinging it down, causing a blue arc, which we all know is Getsuga, but he didn't really want to say the name because that makes it 10 times more powerful. He didn't want to take off his head. If he did that, he would just obliterate his body. But Byakuya would then try to use a Bakudo number 81, which is a shield, or Danku, that's what it's called. And it would it would still shatter the Danku, but it would pretty much lower the damage that he would actually got if he took it head on. So, and pretty much he would have used his Shikai to enforce the shield a little bit. So he wouldn't have taken much damage. He would then pretty much call his sword back, and it would reform into his hands before he would say, I cannot really, hold back on you, Kurosaki. Before he would then open his, move his hands up before he would drop his blade. Now, Ichigo this time would not be surprised on why he dropped his blade. He would then say, it is what it is. Before he would then output his Ryatsu. He's not really gonna use Bankai, that'd be a little too OP. So Byakuya would activate his Bankai Bonkai, Senbon Sakura, Kageyoshi. And about 10 blades would form on each side, and before they would all turn into pink flower petals. Now Ichigo, remember all the times he would fight Byakuya, he would constantly do the same move over and over. He would pretty much go so fast, he would completely slice each flower petal. But when he would go to do that, for some reason, like the flower petals, they just weren't there. They were there originally, but for some reason Byakuya learned an ability where he could completely like recall them faster than Ichigo could swing his blade, because Byakuya was just so used to Ichigo constantly beating him even though he was in Bankai. Before Byakuya would then try to use his Goten, yeah, that's Goke. He would then form a circle around Ichigo, trying to suffocate him with his flower petals. But Ichigo would then output his Ryatsu, and it would cause like a circular to form on the ground before it would go all the way to the sky. I don't know what you call this, like a beam, like kind of like the negation that the Gillians used to help Aizen escape. Now Ichigo would then take a few deep breaths before he would then think of 5 dragons appearing in his mind, before he would then say Hado no Kyuji Goryo Tenmetsu. Now 5 dragons, like the ground would start to erupt, and 5 blue dragons would start to appear, all of them releasing a huge roar from its imaginary mouth, even though it's still there. And don't even think about it, it's November. Now, all the 5 dragons would go rushing towards Byakuya, and Byakuya, as some last-ditch effort, would then summon all of his petals to, yet again, try to lower the damage he's definitely gonna intake. So he would then fix all of the Sakura petals into one point. He would then send the Sakura petals in near like the neck of the dragons, and the dragons would move around, and they would go to clash with said Sakura petals, as the Sakura petals would form into that of a dragon, almost like a dragon going for a dragon. Symbolic little moments there before the dragons would clash, and there'd be a huge explosion of blue Ryatsu and pink flower petals. Now, once the dust would clear, or the petals would clear, we would see Byakuya against a wall, bloodied, and he would then drop his sword, and almost as if he was admitting he lost. Ichigo would then look around, and he would see that Shunsui and Ukitake were fighting Old Man Yama. Soifan was taken down by Yoruichi, and now Aizen was like approaching him he can sense it. So he would then try to sense Urahara's Ryatsu, and he'd see that he was momentarily taken down, and he can see that he's trying to come over there. Now, what would happen is Aizen would come over there, and number one, he was trying to take down Ichigo. Ichigo is a massive obstacle in his plans. Number one, Aizen knows about Yuha. That's why he's been trying to get stronger, and that's why he magically disappeared. It's because he knows Yuha is coming back, and he wants to deal with it fast. So yeah, that's why he wants the Hokyoku. Now, pretty much, Aizen would then walk up to Ichigo, and he would unsheath his sword, going to use his Shikai Kyoko Suigetsu. He would try to do Kudakare Kyokosui. Before his voice would be interrupted, Ichigo would then start to disappear. For some reason, Ichigo would use a hidden Hado number 3. Damn, I can't believe I literally just remembered it. No, I can't remember it. But he would have basically switched places with a piece of his clothing. So he would have switched places with one of the scarves he had from the Kuchiki clan. And he would then appear behind Aizen and swing his blade at him. And Aizen would kind of react in time, but it would have been too heavy for him. And Aizen's sword would have had a crack in it. Before due to Aizen's shock, that would have leave him open for attack, and Ichigo would grab him by the face before diving forward and sending him into the plane of the field, kind of like in the mountain ranges. Now, once Aizen would be thrown by his face into the mountain ranges, Ichigo would then be there, ready to throw some hands. Now Aizen would take off his glasses, shatter them, because they were just like a fashion statement. Before he would then, pull his hair back and fix it into the right position, and he would unsheath or fix what's remaining of his sword by putting Ryatsu into it before he would start to unleash more of his potential. Then he would reach in his pocket and he would have taken out the Hokyoku he made. He still has the Hokyoku he made, and he would start to infuse it into himself. It would have been imperfect still, but he would still be able to go through the ascensions. Now, he would infuse it into himself, and they would start to fight. Now, Ichigo would then use his Getsuga Jujutsu, and a huge cross beam of light would escape, and it would go right for Aizen. Aizen would try to use his Ryatsu to completely make a Bakudo number 81, which would be way stronger than Byakuya's, which got destroyed by a Getsuga. So this would have completely blocked the technique. But this is what Ichigo wanted. He wanted Aizen to be distracted by his Getsuga. Now, he would flash step behind Aizen, and he'd say, "You're too slow." Before he would then, he would say, "Osoi." Kind of like how Urahara said, or basically Aizen said to Urahara in their fight. So Ichigo would say "Osoi" before he would then slash his back, more stomach or back area, and Aizen would be quite shocked. Before a white foam would start to cover his whole body, and this would show the Hokyoku starting to understand Aizen's thoughts and his heart's desires, since that's the point of the device. It takes the user's desires and see if they have the potential to reach that desire, and then they would give it to them. Now Aizen would then start to go into his butterfly, his cocoon form, and he and Ichigo would just start clashing for what seemed like days. Now, it would have been like hours, but they would just continuously start clashing, and Aizen would have reached his own ascension, going into his butterfly state, and Ichigo would have just realized he had to use it. I mean, if he didn't hold back, now Aizen would keep evolving. He needs to destroy Aizen, so he would then pretty much put his swords together as he would activate his Bankai Tensazan Getsu. Now, he would then appear behind Aizen, and due to Aizen's shock of Bankai himself, Ichigo managed to use his Getsuga Tensho with his Bankai, kind of like he did to Yuha, before he would then, the shell would start to break as he would split Aizen in half. Now, after this, to put insult to injury, he would then use Hado number 96, Ito Kaso, to basically burn his body from there. And then he would then walk up to Aizen and then absorb Aizen's soul. So this includes the Hokyoku. But he wouldn't really have the Hokyoku. He would have just had the power that Aizen received from the Hokyoku. So yeah, that would have just been way too OP if Ichigo had the Hokyoku. Then the part of Ichigo's soul that was sacrificed in him using Hado number 96 would be restored with Aizen's soul, and he would walk away as Aizen's body would disintegrate into Reishi. He would then kind of grow taller as he went through his own evolution, and his hair would kind of become longer, similar to that of Butterfly Aizen. And he would have went back to Soul Society, where Yamamoto wouldn't have been hostile towards him, and pretty much the Soul Society would have been back to its original state. Ichigo would then be given back his captain's position, with Toshiro coming back and being lieutenant. Shinji would come back and be the 5th captain, while Urahara would be hat and clogs. But he would still live in the world of the living, just like Yoruichi and all the others. Now, the people who are captains now, like Love and Rose, I think. Rose? Yeah, they would come back and be captains. So any captains you saw after the Fullbring arc, they would be captains, including like Kensei. And Mashiro would be like lieutenant, just basically anyone. Now, pretty much we'll do a time skip for about 3 years. Now, Ichigo would tell Yamamoto of Yawachi's incoming, and this would cause Yamamoto not to lose his arm, number 1, from using Hado number 96, and number 2, he would train more. Now, he's literally so strong, you can't really train a Bankai since you would drown all of Soul Society. So pretty much what Urahara would do with the help of Mayuri, they would pretty much make a separate domain or dimension where Yamamoto and any strong high tier character can train to their heart's content, it would have been like the size of the Garganta Infinite, or maybe like Mukin, and Ichigo or anyone else would just spar, and they would pretty much start getting stronger and stronger, unlocking more of their Bankai's abilities, or just unlocking their Bankai. So anyone that didn't unlock their Bankai can now unlock their Bankai, or even evolve their Bankai. So everyone at this point would be receiving training, and it would have been way better. Now we'll be going to the day of the events of chapter, I think it's 501. Now this will be the invasion of none other than Yhwach. Now in this time they sealed off all the shadows, so basically Yhwach can't watch them, and that would have been for the better. Now pretty much what would happen next is Yhwach would invade, even though for 3 years he didn't actually have any knowledge about what's going on in Soul Society. He still would continue with his plans. He needs to absorb the Soul King, and he needs to do it fast. Now once he would get there, the huge army would be waiting for him, with the front lines being Ichigo, Urahara, Yamamoto, Shunsui, and none other than Shinji Haraku. Now everyone would be waiting there, just waiting for Yhwach to throw the first punch, or sword just be a swing, and Yhwach would start to manifest his sword as a Jugram, and all of the loyal his royal guards like Lele Baro, Gerard, Askin Neklavar. Who am I missing? I think I got everyone there. I know there's one other person, but I just really can't remember. And all the Stern Raiders would come along with Gerard, of course, and Grammy and everyone, because they knew they couldn't really catch Soul Society off guard this time. They for some reason, somehow, they knew they were coming. So they need to go big or go home, if you get the reference. Now pretty much they would start to run into battle. Ichigo would quickly run through, grab two Stern Raiders' face, smash them together before he would then throw them back into the armies, and they would probably take about 10 Stern Raiders with them, because Ichigo infused his Ryatsu kind of into his throwing strength, and it would have been way more of a hitter. Now Ichigo would then use his Getsuga, and this would completely maybe take 5% of the army, and pretty much what would happen next is Shinji would then tell everyone to basically back away from the battle, and pretty much what would happen is they would back away into this I guess you can say shield. The shield protected anything. No Ryatsu based attacks could come through. Shinji would then start to get into a meditative pose, as he would use his Bankai to basically him versus everyone. And pretty much what would happen is the Lelabaro would start fighting Askin, and Grammy would start imagining that everyone, all the Stern Raiders' hearts would stop, and the only one not affected by this was obviously Yhwach, and I think Gerard. If I didn't mention anything about Gerard, then he's not affected. Just Stern Raider, the Royal Guards. Then Shinji would then come in using kind of his Shikai ability, and he would come slicing and dicing, and it would have just been Gerard and Yhwach after the slaughter. Then Ichigo and Yamamoto would come in, and Yamamoto would activate his Bankai, and this would cause all of Soul Society to start to drought up due to the heat of Yamamoto's Bankai. Now Ichigo would then start to whisper a few incantations before he would then use Hado number 54. I can't really remember its name, but it's a fire-based Kido. And I swear, for some reason when I did this series, I seem to forget every Kido I memorized. But then pretty much after Ichigo would fire the Kido Blast, that's what it's called. It's called Haiyan. Then Ichigo would then use another fire-based Kido, which is a little bit bigger, like a fireball jutsu in a sense. And then he would then use Hado number 96, Ito Kaso, since he can regenerate part of his soul, even though high-speed regeneration comes from the soul, so he can regenerate what comes from the soul. It's just a bit of a tangent, but Ichigo would be able to heal his soul. Then Yamamoto would then send, use all of his tips, like put all of the fire to the tip of his blade, that's being 15 million degrees hot, and he would then charge up a fire blast, and this would kind of coincide with the Hado number 96 and the Hado number 54, causing an explosion of just fire. Next, Yamamoto would then resurrect ashes from the dead, as Ichigo would then use a Getsuga Jujutsu to distract Yuha, as all the ashes would then pretty much jump on Yuha, suffocating him in his ashes, and they would pretty much burn him alive. After this, Ichigo would then appear by Yuha and start to whisper a few incantations of an unknown Kido. After this, red bars of light would start appearing on Yuha, as he would suddenly be sealed. But for some reason, this was the clone of Yuha. If you guys don't know, there was a Stern Ritter who could clone himself, and this was the clone of Yuha, obviously. Now, a few minutes later, not even a few minutes, a few seconds later, the real Yuha would start, and he would say, "That was an interesting battle, but I won't be losing to that this time." Now, he would then, summon his Quincy sword, as he would appear by, Yamamoto, as he would split him in half, killing him the same way he did in canon. And Ichigo would kind of, receive some emotional power due to, number one, Yamamoto's death. He's been serving him for years, so it's not like he just doesn't like Yamamoto. He's probably he's the best head captain ever. Now, Ichigo would then use his Bankai Tensa Zangetsu, and pretty much from the backgrounds, like Urahara would come in, and he would start using Binding Kido along with other captains who basically put all the Ryatsu into Urahara. So Urahara would use all of his Binding Kidos, like 61, 62, 63, 79, and he would bind Yuha in the Kido. So while Yuha's busy trying to get out the Kido, Ichigo would be there with his Bankai, and he would go and split Yuha in half. Now, Yuha's not in his Soul King version, so Yuha's just gonna die immediately from that attack. Now, after Ichigo would take down Yuha, he would then finish all the all the remnants, I think the word is, of Yuha's army, completely eradicating everyone and bringing temporary peace to Soul Society. Now, after the fight and all, Ichigo, just like I said in the other parts, he would be brought up by the Soul King himself. The Soul King would explain that Ichigo would kind of become like the Central 46 in a sense, like that. He won't actually be sitting in meetings and stuff like that. He's like the representative of all of Soul Society. He's like the head of Soul Society, above the head captain, but below Squad Zero. But that means he's above Central 46. He's like the head. So anything that happens, he sees it. It's kind of hard to say this. He's like the satrap of, if you guys know what satrap is, it means like governor. He's like the governor of Soul Society, if you get my vibe. Now, pretty much Ichigo would be named the head of the Kuchi clan, and Byakuya would obviously, lay down his hairpins and his scarf, as he would, stop being the head of the clan, but he would still carry some of the respect, though. He would continue his duty as the captain of Squad 6, while Ichigo would kind of become, the honor of Soul Society. So, yeah, that'll be the end of Ichigo's royal journey. I hope you really liked this series, and I know I did. It really got me creative and all. Like, I couldn't really think of anything else. So yeah, without further ado, guys, have a good day.